In this video, I'm going to tell you why it's okay to make a major life change or career pivot even if you've invested a lot into something else. So in previous episodes or previous videos, you may have heard or seen me talking about having an MBA that I didn't want, working at Amazon completely miserable and looking at those 2 years. Now, there's a lot of people who can say, and I am inclined to agree to an extent, that without those pieces, what would I have done? Like, I would not have ended up where I am now. It all led to here. But at the same time, I also know the reasons why I stuck it out longer than I had to. And I also know why people are still sticking it out in a miserable relationship, in a miserable job, or in a miserable lifestyle, despite the fact that they want something else, period. And the reason we do this is called the sunk cost fallacy. And if I was going to read it directly, and this is from behavioraleconomics.com, individuals commit the sunk cost fallacy when they continue a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources. Now, you and I both know resources, we probably all automatically think of money, but it's obviously also time and effort. So there's this image that's been used. It's kind of like a cartoon. I've seen it online a million times. Everyone uses it. It's about this guy who's kind of in a coal mine digging. And I think it shows like towards the end where he's walking away from the wall and the kind of tunnel he just built, and right on the other side of that tunnel, right on the other side of where he was, is just like a pile of gold. Like he was right there and he walked away. This is exactly how sometimes we operate, right? Like we think that because we've invested so much time and energy and resources or effort or sacrificed so much that that is an excuse for us to be miserable. We somehow make ourselves completely okay with the fact that we somehow make ourselves okay. So in these situations, we rationalize our misery. And I'm here to tell you that's fucking bullshit. Misery is compounding the same way success is. And no one is going to kind of extend the olive branch when they see you continuing on miserable behavior, when you deny kind of having the open mind of really exploring other things that you can do. And if you listen to the last episode with Brittney Crystal, we talk about how sometimes it takes getting to the point where you do make enough money, or you do get that promotion, or you do get that status, or you do get that girl, or you do get that guy, or whatever it is, to realize like this is not all it's cracked up to be. This is not actually that important to me. So what happens then? Then you might feel like this regret, you might feel this anger, you might feel ambivalent, and then you might, misplace your emotions. You might misplace your energy, your effort. You might act out of character. And I think I've talked about this before in the Amazon episode. But the sunk cost fallacy tells you that this is usually in the pursuit of a reward, of something you want. The problem is, at some point, you may say the process is not fun. And it's at that time you have to really think about what it is you want. And I've mentioned climbing a corporate ladder that I didn't want to climb. I remember seeing if I had continued to get promoted, where I would be and what kind of lifestyle I would have. And I just looked at all these people and they were really ingenuinely charismatic. So what do you do in these situations? Well, let's get back to Brittney's take on it. And Brittney Crystal, what she's done is she's done personal branding, and she's worked with Gary Vee. She worked at VaynerMedia for a year and worked on very big projects for him back in 2014 as he was exploding. She's worked with Tom Bilyeu. She's worked with very, very prominent people in the industry, and she knows what she's talking about. But look, what you need to know is that she was a lawyer. She was going to law school and was practicing to be a lawyer, and then that's when it all kind of sunk in.
Sunk cost fallacy is huge, especially with lawyers. There's so many that I know, their 30s, 40s, whatever, who want to do something else, who literally do not want it, won't do it. And this is kind of the thing with the what I was saying about personal branding, is some people don't do it until they need to do it. I couldn't live life that way. I wasn't going to be able to show up to work. I want to say I'm not a very emotional person. When I was driving to that job that summer, I was I think it was like 12 weeks. By week 6, I was crying every day driving to that office. It was like, this is not the life. I can't imagine doing this for the next 40 years of my life, whatever it might be. Like, I can't imagine doing this for a few more weeks. So what am I going to do? And, at that point, it's like, you do need to realize at a certain point that you are living your life for you. You get one chance, as far as I know, or as far as anyone else knows. So what's going to make me happy, and what is going to light me up? And you're going to go through that investigatory process. But I was like, I didn't care if it seemed nuts. It just got to the point where I was like, I'm just so miserable. This doesn't make sense. And people ask me like, oh, what did your parents say? And I think they weren't fully supportive of me like wanting to move away from the law right away because they, they were like, okay, that's going to be safe or whatever, which it wasn't. But they saw how unhappy I was. So that's just something where it's like you don't want your friends or the people around you to be unhappy, even if it seems like that's not a great move or maybe you'll, in quotes, regret it. I don't regret it. And I have so many people now who I knew from that time who now come to me and are like, how do I get out of here? How do I pivot? And so you really just have to make the decision for yourself. Like, is it like because somebody else said like, oh, I don't know if that's the right move for you. How do you feel? Can you keep showing up every day doing something you hate? And I can't, I couldn't.
So the biggest takeaway to me is this. It's investigatory, okay? Like you actually have to have the due diligence to dig in and peel back the onion on the things that make you happy, that don't make you happy. Do I want this money? Do I want this career? Do I want this status? Do I want this relationship? Do I want to look this way? Do I want to continue being completely out of breath when I go up the stairs? All these different things. You have to investigate these things. But the problem is we actually block them because we feel like somehow that's safer for us. Well, let me just tell you something, okay, from personal experience. You can bury all that until it just kind of gets to a boiling point, and then somehow, some way, you might just have some sort of explosion, some sort of completely unprecedented event in front of your friends or in front of your family or at work in front of your coworkers, and it might actually set you back further than where you are if you had done the work to discover what it is you actually need to fucking do. So keep that in mind as you explore the process and the misery you might be encompassing in whichever one of these situations you're in. You are at kind of a midpoint of your life, and this is the time not to say, well, I have this much time invested. This is the time to say, I'm taking control now and I'm going after what I want. And you will probably discover what I discovered, and that is a very tangible kind of rejuvenation. It's almost like a second at bat. And you will look at life on the bright side, the way you always should have, and you will start to make less sacrifices. You will start to make less concessions, and you will be very pointed, very direct in exactly what it is you want and how you're going to pursue it. So think about the sunk cost fallacy, okay, the next time you are kind of sitting there thinking how miserable you are. One last thing. So I'm reading this book by Mike Kim called You Are the Brand, and I've had him on the podcast before, but there's a piece where he talks about how miserable he was at work, and he would take selfies of how miserable he was, so that way when he got lured back in to feeling like, okay, like everything's gonna be okay, he would look at those selfies and be like, no, like I gotta remember the truth. Okay, and the truth is there's something more for me. Same way I believed that, the same way Brittney believed that, and the same way Mike did it in his funny way. Remind yourself of what's real and what's not, and be on your way. If you enjoy this channel, please share it with someone else. And this channel, look, this is who the channel is for. You are somewhere between 35 and 45. You're a mother, you're a father, you are middle-aged, you are a career person, you are a stay-at-home dad, stay-at-home mom, whatever it may be, but you, in some capacity, are not happy. And it could be in your profession, it could be in your personal life, it just could be physically, it could be nutritionally, it could be mentally, and you feel like you might not have an out. You feel like you are not capable of making the necessary changes. This channel and my experiences and the people that I talk to on a regular basis are going to be a catalyst in helping you believe the opposite and actually take action. So thank you. We'll see you next time.